Hey everyone, my name is Isaac, and welcome back to another Bloxburg speed build. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to build a blush house. I know what you're thinking, really Isaac? Blush? Just hear me out for a minute, okay? If you know me for a while, you know that I've been an active hater on this style. I used to hate blush, but I had so much fun making this house. It was sort of a challenge, because when I was studying how to make a blush house, I was looking at some in-game, and after about 5 minutes, my eyes began to hurt. It was because of the lighting. Now, I was searching across YouTube and getting some friends to show me some blush builds they've made. The typical lighting options of linen didn't feel blush enough. But in cases where they used coloring options like salmon or other shades of red, I felt like those options were just way too harsh, way too strong. So that motivated me to find a specific hue of light that still evoked that same feeling of blush, but wasn't so bold in its presence to the point where it's overwhelming and it starts inducing headaches. So I spent a lot of time trying to find the right shade of light for this build, and I also worked a lot on the actual color palette of the structure, the interior, and that's because of the way the light works in Bloxburg, or I just suppose how lighting works in general, because the lighting of something is going to affect the way something else looks. So trying to find the right hue of pink that would work with the lighting source I chose was kind of a challenge, honestly, which is why I found this project to be sort of exciting to do, because not only have I've never actually done a blush build before, the further this build was completed, the more satisfied I felt, because I was proud of the results I was achieving with each build session. Like, I just can't believe that I made a house that is so cute and it's a coquette build. I mean, I'm sure I can do even more preppy, even more coquette, grander, bigger, larger, better in the next time that I do this. Now, another challenge I faced, or I guess like a set of restrictions I've had with this project, was the budget. I wasn't trying to exceed $350,000 with the final product, and knowing that I was going to do 2 versions, I told myself, okay, the normal version is not going to exceed $250,000, but since the blush version or a blush style build is going to be more expensive because of its demands, you know, it requires a bit more attention, a bit more care, because it uses more expensive items. The blush version was going to be $100,000 more. Another problem I faced when doing this project was trying to find good decals to use. When I was putting up picture frames in this house, I realized I don't know where to get blush decals, which was part of the reason why I started looking at a multitude of blush speed builds on YouTube in order to scope out what decals to use. I want to give a shout out to French Roses, because she uses decals from a Roblox account called DECALS. Oh my gosh, shout out to that account. But the decals that I used for this build will be linked in a Google document down below, so don't worry about going to that Roblox account and looking for the decals. I've put the codes into a Google Doc for you guys, so don't worry about that, okay? But yeah, decals was probably a main concern, or one of the biggest problems I've had with this house. Beside that, everything else was smooth sailing. I was debating on adding a smart fridge into this build, but I feel like it kind of distracted from the blush element of this house, the vibe and the feeling of blush, you know? So here we are, the $322,000 blush house. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a family room, a kitchen, and a dining room. And that's literally it. because the idea for this house is supposed to be that it's a budget offering for viewers. Because my last build was $2.3 million. So for my current season of Bloxburg speed builds, I'm trying to alternate between an expensive project and a cheap to semi-cheap project, or at least in comparison it's cheaper to the previous project. So this is the 4th installment of season 7, so that means that this is going to be, the cheap budget offering. So the next build is going to be quite expensive, like in the millions. It's definitely going to be a big project. I don't know what it's going to be depending which one I complete first, but it probably won't be a blush build, so don't count on me becoming a blush builder all of a sudden. But it's still on the table, honestly. After doing this build, like, I kind of want to do more. It was fun, it was nice, and I do like the avatar I created around this essence of blush. So how times have changed. I'm a senior in high school making making pink houses. Like, pink. That's where I'm at right now. I do have a few things in the works that I've been on and off about, but mostly off because I've just been busy with school. I have a mall project that you guys probably heard about roughly over a year ago. The Candlewood Collection Denali Square project. It's still active. The builders just haven't been super active, neither have I, so there's no push and shove to actually complete this project. Though it is the most completed thing I've done so far in terms of the other things I'm working on, so this will probably see the light of day first, even if it won't be fully complete because we're running out of plot data, and I really don't believe we can achieve results that we want given the current state of Bloxburg. So, part of waiting so long is just to see, will Bloxburg ascend plot data? But it's also just because we're so busy that, I feel like the mind space we were in maybe has left that plot, and now it's just up to me to finish the remainder of the project. And what I mean by that is just building the storefronts of the remaining shops, because we do have some shops completed, but the plot data issue, I'd rather make it look full rather than just having blank walls and then, oh, there's a store. Think about the American Dream Mall in New Jersey. So I don't want to repeat that mistake, even though that was an inspiration for this build. I'm not trying to make it literally like the American Dream Mall where there's just like blank walls of nothing and then just randomly a shop, because that's where the tenant decided to like open their shop. Other projects, I'm working on a high school. I have a pretty big house and then a small house, so those two houses are probably the next in sequence for what will be released as a speed build. This house was just sort of a natural product of motivation, because truly I've always wanted to embark on the blush style, so here I am. Here's a blush build. And yeah, I felt like this was probably the most appropriate time to do it, because while I was busy on doing something more interesting with structures or maybe a color scheme in my past few builds, this one is also a color scheme related thing, since it's so contextualized in this environment of blush, this atmosphere of blush, pink, the feeling of being coquette, or the sense of coquette. That's sort of like what was prompted by doing this, because I've been working on my ability to create a specific atmosphere or feeling with my builds, and by continuing to pursue a very specific style or commit to a very specific scheme or color palette, that it improves my preparation but also process in trying to be, okay, how can I evoke this feeling or make this much more boldly consistent? And this is where I'm at right now. So that has expanded my thinking on what I can really do with colors. and that's thanks to the new color wheel feature in Bloxburg. Thank you, Bloxburg developers, for that. Like, you know how long I've been waiting for. Sorry. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say for this project. I can't really think of anything else that I need to address here. Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And yeah, it's been a while since you've seen me or heard from me, so this is my little comeback here, and it's very different than what you've probably expect from me, I guess, but maybe not super surprising. But that is it. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tour. You're the best. Make sure to keep it real. I love you guys. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any announcements or information that you guys are just like, what? Because you guys are always asking me things that I've addressed already. So sorry, that's just push comes to shove, you know, that kind of stuff. Sorry. Anyways, I hope you have an amazing day. How's your day going? How's your day going? Tell me in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next. Peace. Before you start, I must provide some context to this tutorial. Due to the budget constraints of this project, I was unable to go back, delete everything, and rebuild it with the precise and planned measurements that I know. There are some measurements that will be linked in the description below that might help you to not follow the tutorial exactly if you don't want to waste any money or waste any time. But what this means is that what is provided to you as a tutorial in this video is simply me designing and planning as I go. Just like my old speed builds prior to December 2022, it's just me literally freestyling on recording. It's just me doing it as I go. Meaning that, yeah, there are some things that might not make it to the final version of the house, but that also depends when you want to stop doing this project or following this tutorial, because this tutorial is built from the standpoint of me building the normal version of this house first and then going back and making everything blush. So there will be like a stopping point, like a timestamp chapter in like part 5 or something, or part 4 probably, that's going to be like, hey, if you stop here, this is going to be the blush version going forward. So if you don't want the blush version, you can keep the normal house as it is. It is about $70,000 cheaper, so just keep that in mind if you want the normal version. By the way, if you want to preview what that looks like, it's in the description below.
you.